Howdy, friend. Sam Houston here, hoping you're living in high cotton. And if you're lucky enough to be in Texas, I know you're most of the way there. Now enjoy your daily dose of Texas history and Texas pride.
Howdy, friend. Welcome back to the Feed Bandit podcast and your Texas History Roundup for March 22nd. In 1801, on this day, or possibly March 21st, filibusterer Philip Nolan was killed near present-day Waco by Spanish troops. He had been making incursions into the area to capture wild horses and trade with the Indians. Nolan was the first of a long line of filibusterers that helped to free Texas from Spanish and Mexican rule, and he's often credited with being the first Anglo-American to map a part of Texas. James Wilkinson used Nolan's records to produce a map of the Texas-Louisiana frontier about 1804. In 1836, scouts Henry W. Carnes and Erastus Deaf Smith reported to General Sam Houston that General Joaquin Ramirez y Cisma's army of 600 infantry and 150 cavalry and 2 pieces of artillery was on the opposite bank of the Colorado River near Mosley's Crossing, about 3 miles from Houston's camp. The poor condition of Cisma's force suggested that an opportune time for engaging them might be at hand. This same day, Colonel William Ward and a few of his soldiers, who had escaped earlier from an embattled refugio, were captured by General Jose de Uria's army near Victoria and marched to Goliad. In 1866, the first black state convention, the Texas State Central Committee of Colored Men, met in Austin. The main issues were discriminatory laws, anti-black violence, and exclusion of blacks from juries. The last convention was held in Houston in 1895. In 1894, about 700 men, part of Coxey's army, arrived in El Paso from Los Angeles with the goal of supporting Jacob Coxey's march on Washington. Coxey, an Ohio businessman and reformer, planned to lead an army of jobless men to Washington to demonstrate for government assistance. Why do you go to ask government for help? That's getting in the bed with the devil. That's a deal you'd never want to make. You'll never recover. After camping by the tracks in El Paso for 2 days, the group boarded an eastbound Southern Pacific Railroad train. But about 70 miles east of El Paso, their cars were uncoupled, and they were left in the desert without food or water. Wow. After Governor James S. Hogg interceded and El Paso citizens raised money for a special train, Southern Pacific transported them to Texarkana, where they boarded another train for the rest of the trip. They did make it to Washington, but many arrived well after Coxey's demonstration on May 1st, during which he'd been arrested for carrying a banner and walking on the grass. In 1924, the San Antonio Conservation Society was founded by a group of women led by Emily Edwards and Mary Green. Organized after the 1921 flood that threatened old San Antonio, its goals were to encourage the preservation of buildings, objects, and places related to Texas history. The group supported efforts to create a riverwalk and restore the Spanish governor's palace. The San Antonio Riverwalk, as it's known today, has become one of the most visited places in the United States. In 1947, Slater Martin led UT Austin Longhorns to the Final Four, but they lost to the OU Sooners in the first game. Oh man. Martin was UT Austin's first great basketball player. He played 11 seasons with the Minneapolis Lakers and the St. Louis Hawks, and was on 5 national championship teams. He's a member of the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame, and his jersey number 15 has been retired by UT Austin. Martin passed away in Houston in 2012. And in 1968, more sports history, Elvin E. Hayes played his last game for the Houston Cougars and lost to UCLA in 4th place in the NCAA basketball tournament. Hayes was a 3-time All-American at University of Houston, was voted College Player of the Year. He led the Cougars to 2 Final Four appearances. Hayes played 7 seasons with the Houston Rockets and 9 with the Washington Bullets. He played more games and more minutes than any player in NBA history at the time, and he was named one of the 50 greatest players in NBA history. Okay. Well, that, my friend, was your Texas History Roundup for March 22nd. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you back here on the next one. You take care.
Well, there you have it. If you like our podcast, check us out at feedbandit.com. There you'll find awesome Texas First outdoors gear and apparel. Your purchase helps support the Bandits and keeps this podcast on the air, fighting for you and for Texas. Remember, preserve the tradition, protect the legacy. Until next time.